CoQ10 with PQQ. That is a lot of like letters. It sounds like alphabet soup. So we're going to sort out the alphabet soup tonight and make it simple. I love that we threw in a bunch of history tonight. I love that Bill talked about some history and that Steve, you talked about a little bit of history, and man, the comparison to Margaret Ames, I am touched. For those of you who don't know who Margaret Ames is, she had my seat before I ever came to Body Wise, and she is, I think, since been with the Linus Pauling Institute in the state of Oregon, and is probably one of the foremost antioxidant researchers in the world. So any comparison to Dr. Ames, I will take to heart. So, but on the line of antioxidants, because we're going to talk about antioxidants tonight, I really want to mention that Body Wise was one of the first companies to introduce coenzyme Q10. And that has, its roots in our very strong history of supporting cardiovascular health, but also supporting strong science. And we also don't tend to make changes, upgrades, introductions to new things when it comes to old products, we don't tend to touch them unless we really feel like we have some science that is important that would enhance or improve something that we have already done, because we're pretty careful and precise about what we do with formulation in this company. So that should make this introduction even more exciting. So I know that it's possible that some of you haven't heard me in a long time talk about some of the science, even around CoQ10. So I'll do a little bit on every ingredient and then try to talk about how these all come together to make a really important formula. So let's just start with CoQ10 itself. Its long name, coenzyme Q10. And a lot of our vitamins and nutrients in the body are actually coenzymes, which refers to the way that they work within chemical reactions in the body. So for those of you who are very science oriented, actually a lot of your vitamins are coenzymes, meaning that they act as cofactors for reactions, chemical reactions in all of your cells. CoQ10 is a nutrient that we've known a lot about for a long time, particularly in relationship to what it does for cardiovascular health. So a lot of people know it as an antioxidant in the cardiovascular system, and understand its ability to be protective of our blood fats. So it promotes healthy levels of blood fats. It also helps keep your bad cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol, it helps keep it from becoming oxidized. So LDL by itself, we call it bad, but it's not, you need some, it's not bad by itself. But if it gets oxidized, that's when it can start doing things like damaging blood vessels. And CoQ10 helps keep LDL basically stable so that it can't do that kind of damage in the body. So it really is very important for heart health. But it also is involved in how your cells make energy. So you'll see in the title of this reformulation that it says heart health and energy, right? So that energy component of CoQ10 is the other part of what it does. It works inside your little mitochondria, which are we talk about those as the powerhouse of the cells. So what that really means is the mitochondria is a little organ that sits inside your cells, and it's kind of like the engine. That's where everything gets converted into energy, and then those processes kind of permeate through the entire body. So you can think of the cells in your body or the organs in your body that use the most energy are the ones that depend most on that mitochondria for their own health. So that really in your body is your heart, which is constantly beating, right? I mean, constant motion of a muscle contracting all the time. So your heart uses a lot of energy. The other thing that uses a lot of energy is your brain, right? Your brain, as the sort of master conductor of everything in your body, uses a tremendous amount of energy to do that. So mitochondrial health, very important for the brain, very important for the heart, also a lot of other things, but I kind of think about those as sort of the focus of what we're talking about. So you can find CoQ10 in the diet. You find it in meat and nuts. You find it in some oils. I think particularly canola oil is a fairly good source of CoQ10, but nothing close to the amount that we can provide in a product. And actually this new reformulation increased the levels of CoQ10 from the original formula. So you're getting more CoQ10 than you were getting before. So more for antioxidant protection, more for heart health, more for energy production. All right. So that's kind of the basic on CoQ10. So let's talk about CoQ10's partner, its closest partner in this formula. And I'm going to talk about partnerships in this formula more than once. But always traditionally in this formula, we've paired CoQ10 with vitamin E. Okay. Vitamin E doesn't get a lot of press anymore, but it's a very important nutrient. First of all, it's essential. You need it. It's one of our most important antioxidants, and of our fat-soluble antioxidants versus our water-soluble, by the way, so beta C, that's all your water-soluble antioxidants, right? Those are wonderful. And if there's, I don't know, that special sounded great. You should put that in everyone's Christmas stocking this year, because really that's a very good price for that product. But CoQ10, but vitamin E is kind of whereas vitamin C is kind of your lead water-soluble antioxidant, vitamin E is your lead fat-soluble antioxidant. And it works in virtually every place that we have fat in our bodies. And the major places we have fat in our bodies, your brain is made up surprisingly of an incredibly large amount of fat. And every membrane of every cell in your body is kind of wrapped in a coating of fat, right? So in all of those cases, vitamin E is very important. The membrane of all your cells, very important for protecting the brain. And it also works in the cardiovascular system. So you can start to see where these things overlap. Because vitamin E is doing all of this work of protecting your cells, when it does its job, it actually becomes oxidized, okay? CoQ10 helps to recycle vitamin. When we use vitamin E, CoQ10 grabs a hold of what is there when vitamin D has been used, and it recycles it back into its helpful nutrient state so it can keep doing its job over and over and over again. So in that case, they're very dependent on each other. So having healthy levels of CoQ10 and vitamin E together means that you get sort of the optimum in terms of that healthy pairing of how those nutrients work together. So you can think of them as kind of in the same way we talk about calcium and magnesium together, right? These nutrients really depend on each other to complete the cycle of their function in the body. Better together. That's how I think of them. CoQ10, vitamin E, better together. Okay. So we have more better together that's going on in this formula. And part of the big thing that we have here is the introduction of a new nutrient. So this nutrient has a long name. There will not be a quiz on the name of this nutrient at the end of this, except for Steve Hughes, who will directly on this nutrient when we're done. So the full name of this nutrient is pyrroloquinone quinone. Okay, we call it PQQ because that is a mouthful and nobody wants to repeat it more than once. So remember PQQ. Do not remember the full name of this nutrient. This is a really special nutrient in terms of what it does for cellular energy. It really works to actually help your body in multiple ways. And the biggest one is something that has another long name called mitochondrial biogenesis. Okay, now we talked about those mitochondria already when we talked about CoQ10, and we said CoQ10 is important for helping your mitochondria make energy. PQQ actually helps your body make more mitochondria. Okay, that's biogenesis, like biology, genesis, creation, right? So when we have more PQQ, the body actually can increase its production of those little engines in your cells. Okay, so now you can already start to see how these go together, right? You got one nutrient that's going to help you make more mitochondria, and the other that's going to help drive more energy production in the mitochondria. It's a pretty cool pairing, right? Okay, PQQ does more stuff though. So it also acts as an antioxidant in the mitochondria. Really important. So those little mitochondria, they're churning out all of the energy inside of all your cells. Let's go back to our car engine analysis, right? When we have that analogy, we're talking about car engines, they always make a little pollution, right? I mean, okay, electric cars aside, we can leave those people with Teslas out on one side, but your typical car engine, you're making a little pollution along the way. PQQ kind of helps to clean up a little bit of what's dirty in the cells. Okay, that's the other thing it helps to do. It acts as an antioxidant in there, helping to keep your cells running clean. Okay, so you can think more energy, more clean energy when we've got more PQQ. So it's acting in all those areas. And then just as a bonus, this nutrient does a few other fun special things. It's neuroprotective, meaning it helps to provide some extra protection for your brain, okay? Where your brain making a lot of your energy. So it's acting as kind of an antioxidant protection for your brain. As part of that, it helps with cognitive support, right? So anything that's supporting that energy production and providing antioxidant protection in the brain can kind of help protect our cognition as we get older. And totally separately, it has an impact on promoting healthy blood sugar levels. So kind of like a little bonus function, this nutrient contributes to healthy blood glucose metabolism. Not a bad thing to have as a bonus. So to come back to that, we have CoQ10 and vitamin E working together, right? Recycling each other. We have PQQ and CoQ10 working together in all of their functions for energy production, neural protection, and this function within the mitochondria where one is helping to make more and the other is helping to increase energy production. Okay, does that make good sense to everyone? How all of these are, we can make a diagram. Now we need a Venn diagram, right? Of how all these loop together and work together. And then not to be left out, I want to say a little thing about quercetin, because we actually have a fourth nutrient here that we could forget, but I love quercetin, so I never want to forget quercetin. Quercetin is a cool little nutrient. You find it across the food chain a lot in a lot of your fresh fruits and vegetables have a little quercetin in there as one of their flavonoids. Okay, so it's a different kind of an antioxidant, but quercetin does a cool thing that relates to this formula. It's one of only 2 nutrients that I think have been studied for their ability to reduce something called cellular senescence. Okay, and this is the process. That's another long. I've given you so many vocabulary words tonight. I'm so sorry, Steve. There will be a test when we're done. So
I'm going to fail miserably.
Senescence is the process where your cells as they get older, right? Our cells are always replacing themselves in the body, right? And to do that, they have to grow and divide. As they get older, we just get less good at doing that process, okay? So the cells can kind of stop dividing well, but they don't necessarily die. So we kind of have some of these old cells just hanging out, not doing really what they should do. So an overaccumulation, when we get too many of these aging cells sitting around here, it's more associated with what we call biological aging. So the more of these kind of not very useful, non-dividing cells that you have sitting around, you don't want those. Those are not something you want a lot of. Quercetin is one of the only nutrients we know of that helps reduce that process. So by having more quercetin around, we can help actually have fewer of these sort of aged cells kind of hanging around in the body. So it's almost really, that's almost like a pure anti-aging function that happens with quercetin. It also upregulates, I'm realizing I'm looking at my notes, I have so many words that I haven't explained here. It upregulates a set of proteins that are called sirtuins. And sirtuins are another set of proteins that are also associated with healthy cellular aging. So sirtuins go up with quercetin, and the presence of aged cells goes down. Okay, that's a bonus in terms of healthy cellular aging in both directions, right? Also, a little bit more about quercetin is it's improved. It's got some association with improved metabolic health and overall improved resistance to stress. And its other total area of research is all with healthy allergic response. So we tend to think of quercetin as something that works in the immune system to help people be less allergically reactive to things in their environment. So extra super good nutrient. So you can see, although those beautiful anti-aging functions of quercetin work really well when we're talking about its associations with vitamin E, PQQ, and CoQ10. Okay, I've said a lot of complicated things. And as I said, no test for all of you out there except Steve. So collectively, this incredibly powerful reformulation of what was formerly our CoQ10 Plus, but is now the CoQ10 Plus PQQ, here's what you get out of this. It's a really powerful combination for cellular energy, okay, because of all of what we're doing there with mitochondrial numbers and mitochondrial health and function. We get a powerhouse antioxidant formula that is most potently an antioxidant for the brain and for the cardiovascular system. Cellular aging everywhere in this formula. Every aspect of cellular aging is touched by these 4 ingredients. And then heart health and energy, brain health and energy. Okay, so aging and energy, it's the perfect, things that you should be thinking about with this product. I think it's a great reformulation. I'm excited that we are bringing this out. And I think it really stands for, again, a lot of what Body Wise stands for, not just because of the history with cardiovascular health, but, and I meant to say this at the beginning, but we've also had a long history of really standing for energy without caffeine, right? That's really been a very strong tradition of this company. And we are really emphasizing that with the introduction of this reformulation. So clean energy, energy for your cells, anti-aging, nothing in there that you're going to regret. The good news is that, you can just initialize it's CoQ10 PQQ, energy, aging, heart health. That's the part you have to remember.
Now, just putting these, before I hand this off to John Paul for an open Q&A, we have quite a few people on, so I'm sure there's lots of questions, but I just, common sense wise tells me this is a product you probably don't want to take before you go to bed.
Well, again, it's not a stimulant. It's not. So common sense wise would make you think that, but it's not like having a cup of coffee. Cellular energy and those kinds of things are not stimulants, right? So I don't think actually that people would probably take this and get insomnia from taking it, actually, interestingly enough, because there's nothing in here that is stimulating in that way. It's really just promoting cellular energy all the time. I mean, your brain is doing actually a huge amount of work while you sleep. That's not just about dreaming, but all of the processes that your brain uses to clear itself of cellular debris and things, those processes consume a ton of energy and all happen while you sleep. So your brain is working just as hard, if not harder, while you're in bed with your eyes shut. Okay.
But anyway, John Paul, I'm going to hand it off to you, and you can do the Q&A. I can't imagine we won't have a ton of questions about this.
Okay, Sylvia.
Hi, hello everyone, and thank you so much for all this great information. Are you going to have this on our Body Wise info site? Are you?
Yes, it will be up on bodywiseinfo.com. If you'd like to see it again or pass on the link to someone you'd like to look at it.
Okay. Also, I've been on it for about a week, and I just came out of a major operation and 2 very, very bad falls. And so I guess the first time I took it, it kind of shocked my system because I went to sleep. And I said, that's interesting. I must really need this product. And so I took it again the next day. And my gosh, I could feel energy coming through. And so I've been on it ever since. And maybe it's because the first time I took it, I only took 1. And then, of course, now I'm taking 2 a day. But I really, really feel the energy. And I would just, kind of peer off in the afternoons and go to sleep. But I'm up all day. I'm, in fact, into the sometimes late hours. And my daughters the other night said, what are you doing up so late? I said, I don't know. I just have all this energy. I got to use it. So I know that there's something going on with this product, this CoQ10, with the PQQ. So I'm very, very excited about it. And I'm excited, so happy to learn all the information that you have shared with us, Dr. Jacques. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments for Dr. Jacques?
I'm sorry, this is Sherry Penzink. Can you take my question now?
Hi, Sherry, I can hear you.
Hi, Dr. Jacques. I'm wondering if this product is contraindicated with any other heart meds or blood pressure meds or blood thinners or antiarrhythmics.
Yeah, so you can always email me with a question like that. We do generally with coenzyme Q10 and vitamin E together, just those two nutrients. We tend to caution folks with blood thinners in particular. And within the whole realm of cardiovascular medications, I cannot possibly hold all of those numbers of potential interactions in my brain. But with blood thinners, there is usually a general caution with CoQ10 has a very similar structure. Its chemical structure looks very similar to vitamin K, right? So in the same way that vitamin K tends to be contraindicated with blood thinners, we tend to caution people with CoQ10 with blood thinners. So that would be the big one.
Just a quick comment. Let me just quick comment. I have a cardiologist because I had some heart issues about 2+ years ago, and I'm on a blood thinner just prophylactically, right? Just whatever. And they had no concerns with regard to, but we're not giving medical advice, but
they don't always, that's just a general class where there tends to be, it's really like, right. To Bill's point, the best thing is always just talk to your doctor, or actually really what I advise is talk to your pharmacist, because more than your doctor, your pharmacist will tend to have a very up to the moment list of what some of the contraindications are, especially with new drugs.
Yeah.
But a lot of
and may I ask one more question?
Sure.
Great. And what about the pathway to enhance the immune system? How does it affect that? How does the CoQ PQQ affect the pathway to the immune system?
I'm not sure what you mean by pathway, but particularly as antioxidants, so quercetin and vitamin E are probably the two strongest immune support nutrients in this formula, and really working in different ways. I mean, vitamin E kind of working with providing antioxidant support to immune function, and quercetin actually helps to stabilize the membranes of certain immune cells, mostly mast cells and eosinophils.
Mast cells and eosinophils, which means that for allergy patients, it would be really helpful.
It's a really great, there's a whole separate set of kind of supportive research looking at quercetin supporting that aspect of immunity where sort of you're interacting with the environment.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think Bev had a question.
Yes, I had a comment. I take Supercell, and how does this work? Supercell, I don't have the formula in front of me, but how does this work with Supercell? It has some tremendous ingredients in it.
Yeah, they're different. So, I think really, Supercell to me is our global antioxidant formula, right? It almost has a nutrient in there that acts as an antioxidant in every organ and tissue of your body. Whereas the CoQ10 PQQ formula is really kind of anti-aging cellular energy, but also an antioxidant, right? So I think heart, brain aging with this formula, with part of that function being acting as an antioxidant for those tissues, right? Whereas Supercell is like your head to toe global antioxidant formula.
Works great with skin.
Which one? Supercell? Yes. I think Supercell, anywhere that your body needs antioxidant support, you've got a nutrient in there that touches it.
I love it.
And skin is one of those things, right? Our skin is our part of our body that most touches all the stuff that's out there in the world, right? Our pollution, our, light from the computer or the sun, things like that. So yes.
Thank you.
You bet.
Certainly. Thank you, Dr. Jacques, for a wonderful presentation tonight. And Bill, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I do. First of all, thank you, Dr. Jacques. And secondly, a special shout out to Sylvia. I knew she had the fall, and I'm great to hear her on the call tonight. And I'm so pleased that she's using another product that's very effective for her. All great to hear. As I'm listening, I thought of my grandmother, who used to say to me, if you have your health, you've got everything. And I used to think, well, I mean, maybe not everything, like a little money might help and good education might help. But, as you get older, maybe there's wisdom. And when you think about your health, if you're not feeling well, the rest really doesn't matter very much. And as you age, and we're trying to reverse that process or at least hold it at bay, and I think, gosh, I'm so much more focused on my health and taking more nutrients and taking more supplements. And I think, why am I doing it? Well, it's because my body needs it. It needs these supplements. This is a great new product. CoQ10 with the triple Q. Steve, there's 3 books I'm reading, and I want to mention to everyone because they're really worth reading. Dr. Jacques has referenced them in a way. Here's a book, Why We Sleep, which seems kind of obvious, but it's 400 pages on why we sleep, by a Dr. Walker. As you know, Tony Robbins is an old friend, and he just wrote I think it's a great book. It's called Life Force. Right? And, he's talking about all these new medical breakthroughs about anti-aging. And then Dr. Jacques, you referenced tonight, the brain and sirtuins. Now, I mean, who the heck knows about sirtuins? Well, I do actually, because I'm reading another book. I'm reading another book. It's called Lifespan by a Dr. David Sinclair. Yeah. And the subtitle is Why We Age, and Why We Don't Have to. And of course, one of the things they're referencing is sirtuins and your genetic makeup and the epigenome and so forth and so on. But I mean, the body is just an amazing, amazing structure. And you were referencing all these particular terms and vitamins and ingredients and enzymes. And, you go, wow, I mean, this is all happening. Yeah. It's all happening. But we have to nurture it. And that's what Body Wise does. It started with Tom Tierney, a great tradition of quality products. You, Dr. Jacques, thank you. You're continuing our research, formulations, and improving our products because nothing stands still. And we've introduced these, for example, tonight, another new product, which I think is just a great product. And we'll be introducing some great new products in 23. So with that, guys, I just want to say thank you for joining us. We've had good participation this evening. And I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy 2023 and New Year and Christmas and holiday season. And also, I did want to reference, don't forget, we've got some wonderful immune products. And we're entering the winter, and there's a lot of flu and a lot of those kind of issues still around. The virus is still with us. So remember, it's okay to use a lot of products. They're all working. I'm going to say good night to everyone. Thanks for joining us.